And it looks like we are live, but there's nobody waiting yet. But that's all right. How's your day, sir?
My day is wonderful. You know, every day above ground is a good day. I thank God.
Who you telling, man? Who you telling? I know that uh, a lot of things been going on up in up top, up top, and hopefully you can share some light on that. But for now, let me minimize this screen, bring this screen over here, and let's see. Even if nobody starts watching right now, we gonna get this thing going. Boom, boom. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. How y'all doing, Postal family? My name is JH. Is everybody good? Is everybody cool? Everybody clean? Are you crisp? Are you feeling irie today? Let's talk. Let's talk. All right. Tonight's not another postal talk. No, no, no. We're not just going to be just talking today. No. We have someone stepping into the fire. He is the current president of the New York Metro Area Postal Union, I believe. From my research, it's the biggest local in the APWU. He's been doing this for some years. Whether you love the union or think it's been asleep at the wheel, this gentleman has been trying to change that. His name is Jonathan Smith. He is running for national APWU president. Tonight, he's going to share some real answers, not fluff, because that's not, I like the guy. I personally saw him. He got some shit talking. I make me want to go to church after hearing some of the stuff he says. Not conventional talk. So if you MVS, maintenance, VMF, clerks, uh, or just tired of getting crumbs, while skilled trades carry the weight, just pay attention. Mr. Jonathan, please tell us who you are, what you do, where you're from, where you at, what's going on, sir.
Yeah, I'm Jonathan Smith. You already introduced me, president of the New York Metro Area Postal Union. I've been in the Postal Service 37 years. I've been in the union 37 years. I'm an MPE by trade, a mechanic, fix the machines. But most of all, my number one passion is fighting for and defending people that have a hard time defending themselves. But I also make it clear that our strength has got to be our unity. I hear a lot of people complaining, but I never hear people asking the question. They always ask them what the union is doing to help them. Well, what are you doing to help your union? We got
Oof.
people that's been in the union 20, 25 years, have never been to a union meeting, but everything that goes on is the union's fault. And one thing that I would like to point out, and I like to always use this analogy, and I kind of used it in our conversation the other day, and people kind of understand it because I like breaking things down to a finite matter. These things don't have to be complicated, and I'm not going to talk to the members like I'm talking in the boardroom. I'm just going to give it to you straight, no chase. How
Oof.
many people do you know are in a relationship? And they're in a relationship, and the first thing that they'll tell me is, that relationship is not perfect. And I'll be like, what do you mean the relationship is not perfect? You choose to be in this relationship and you accept the fact that it's not perfect. And they go, yeah, nothing is perfect. I said, hold on, hold on. I know that you're lying to me because you chose to be in this relationship and you sit around and talk about, oh, it's not perfect. And you accept that as part of the consequences of a relationship. You're going to have your ups and your downs. You're going to have your good and your bad. So why do you go to the postal service where you don't own nothing and now you mad because it's not perfect? The union's job has always been progress, not perfection. We work to make things better. The rights that we have today is because of our forefathers and foremothers, the struggle that they went through, blood, sweat, and tears out there on the picket line. I don't think it's a current worker out there today, or very few that was around in the 1970s strike, that could really talk about real struggle, real protest, real fight. People don't understand that when the postal service, you know why they call it the swing room? A lot of people
Talk
say,
to me.
oh, it's the cafeteria. It's the swing room because when they first came into the postal service, they shift swing. You might come in today on tour 2, tomorrow on tour 3, the next day on tour 1. And if you don't like it, you don't come in at all. So they can't do that no more. In fact, my grandfather, and one of my problems that I have is, Brother JH, this ain't in my heart, because sometimes your heart could get broken and you want to quit. This ain't in
Mm,
my mind, because, if it was in my mind, I can get intelligent enough not to want to do this no more. It's in my DNA. It's who I am.
damn.
My grandfather was a postal worker. My grandfather, back when he worked, he was a postal worker, and that's what I mean. Not a clerk, not a motor vehicle, not to mean that he didn't do those jobs. Because when he came in, he might have came in the morning and he had to sweep the floor. In the afternoon, he had to sort the mail. And maybe on that day, he might have had to deliver it. And he was grateful to do it. Now, we have gotten so bougie that we think that I mean, you told me this straight talk, right?
Talk to me, bro.
You told me
Talk
this
to
is
me.
straight talk. So the thing about it is, I like to keep it real. Yeah, we got some management, and they got these kids that still living home with their mama and daddy, and they coming to work and they want to be the supervisor. They want to have some authority when they ain't even got no authority at home. But I always tell the supervisors this: if you get rid of the workers, I don't need a supervisor to tell the ghost what to do. If there's no workers, there's no you. So, but they have to get involved. They got to do more than just complain. See, my theory is very simple. Sometime you might outmaneuver me. I ain't the smartest guy in the world, right? Sometimes you might outthink me. That's going to happen. But if you outwork me, then I'm going to kick my own ass, excuse my language, because
Nope.
that I can control. No one is going to outwork me. No one is going to outfight me. No one is going to out-argue me. People said that I'm arrogant. No, what I am is confident. I'm confident and I'm passionate because Mo Biller, the great New York Metro president years ago that was around, he was the first president of New York Metro. He said, why are you expecting the members to care until they first know that you care? I care. I care, but I care about right and wrong too. I don't care just about, because sometimes you get frustrated. People complain about, oh, the union not doing this, the union not doing that. But what is the union supposed to do when you call out from work sick, but you all up on Facebook at the beach with the family
Oh,
and stuff like that? And,
whoa.
and it would be funny if it wasn't true. Now, I'm just a straight shooter. And I'm a hard fighter. I have been successful at every step that I went. Why? Because my philosophy is failure is not an option. I don't put
Mm,
failure on the table. So if I don't need okra, okra don't go on my table. I ain't got to make a mistake on eating okra because I don't like okra. So it's not going on my table. Well, the postal workers, when they get the attitude that failure is not an option, that we're really going to support our union, we're going to get out there in these streets. I called a rally. I got a rally coming up, and I really, on July 24th, on 39th and 7th Street against Wells Fargo practices on promoting privatization, not only on the postal service, but in the labor movement. I'm expecting the people to go out there. But if management says overtime, won't nobody come out there. Oh, I had to get the overtime. Well, guess what? The clothes on your back, the food on your stomach, everything that you have, that car payment, that house, everything was supplied by a lousy union that you complain about all the time. But you let a union disappear. You let these rights go away, and you're going to find out what real struggle is. We might have it hard, but we don't have it bad. And they said the postal service has changed. The postal service didn't change. The people changed. You know a frustrating thing, brother JH. When I talk to a worker and they tell me, I don't come to work to make friends. Huh?
mm.
If you work in overtime, you know when you work. If you work in overtime, you see the people you work with more than you see your family. Why wouldn't you want to be their friend? And some of the problems you won't need the union to solve, because when I first came into the postal service, everybody was friends. And if you was off on Tuesday, they brought the kids to your house. If they was off on Wednesday, they brought the kids to their house. So we wasn't going to the postal service begging for some services for babysitting and watching our children, because we took care of that on our own. We got to get back to that. We got to get back to the softball leagues. We got to get back to the basketball leagues. We got to get back to the union picnics. We got to get back to a form of unity, and then we will be much stronger. I'm just a straight shooter, and I'm going to bring my passion, my fight, my trust in God, because that's what has got me that far. A lot of people don't like you to talk about God. Oh, don't talk about God. Let me tell you something. I'll give you 2 words that scare people. The first word is God, and the second word is work. If you talk about God and you talk about work, it's time to go. I'm just being real with you, brother. Brother Jay, I'm just being real with you. So, I mean, I love the people that I represent. And I'm going to love them sometime until they find a way to love themselves. And if you take as much time to make a difference as you do to make a complaint, your postal service experience would be a lot better. I'm
Say
never
that one
going to
more time,
promise you
please.
perfect.
Say that one more time, please.
If you take more time to talk about, stop complaining and say, what can I do to make a difference? You will change your whole perspective on the postal service, because what the problem is not the postal service, is our perspective. Do you have reasonable perspective? You want to come, what job are you going to go to and tell the man when you going to work? If a guy was interviewing you and said, I need a driver, right? And I need him 10 o'clock in the morning. You said, listen, I can't get there to 12. You the boss now. You the boss. Are you going to say, don't worry about it, come in at 12, we're going to work something out? That's not realistic, right? But this is what a lot of people expect. They expect the employer to work their schedule around you. That's not realistic. So when we start being honest, let's be honest. Let's have some honest conversations. The Postal Service, yeah, we got our struggles. Yeah, we got some management out there that's off the hook. But if we stick together, because back in the 90s, when we had a problem with a supervisor, I remember one of the old timers, and we're not pulling these young people under our wings like they did me. And there was a time, I'm gonna be honest with you, Brother Jay, I had to choose between the club and I had to choose between work. And the club won out. But as I matured, and as my coworker, not a supervisor, pulled me aside and said, you didn't screw them, you screwed me. You put extra work on me. They made me proud to be a postal worker. They made me proud to do it. They made me proud to be a fighter. I was proud. My grandfather was a hero with an 8th grade education. But you want to know why he was my hero? 8th grade education. He took his family from the South and moved up north so we could have better opportunities. He was from Macon, Georgia. He went from the tobacco fields to the post office. And when my grandfather died, he died with 4 cars, 2 homes. He was able to help me and my sister go to college and stuff like that. Don't tell me how bad the Postal Service is. The Postal Service has been good to me, but the experience is what you make it and not what you accept. I'm sorry.
I don't
keep
have
going
any
sometimes.
questions. I don't have no questions. I think this your show. I had some questions, but I ain't got no questions no more. I think you covered everything. And on that note, we know who we voting for. Bro, you said everything, boy. I know we have a lot of carriers that are watching and will watch this. You know, a lot of them say, you know, it's different for their craft, but shit, the post office is the post office. We really need people like that. Now, somebody saying nobody can save the Postal Service. Postal Service has the same level of crookedness as the swamp in DC. That's what they're saying. But you know what? Let's cut to it. Let's talk about the contract. I know you saw the contract. How do we get a contract with nothing for the people with the most training? You just told me just now. I didn't notice that you were an ET
MPE, mail
technician.
processing equipment mechanic. Yes.
Oh, okay. All right. And you had, well, I don't know when you did it, but I know now they send them to go get training out in
Oklahoma.
was it Oklahoma? Yeah. How is it that the mechanics, the maintenance mechanics, the CDL drivers, the HVAC, the people that came in with the skill training, the ones that repair the vehicles, you know, we showed up, we did the hard work, but we didn't get anything. The CDL drivers, they've been talking about, oh, we're gonna get up to level 10. They've been talking about that for the last 2 contracts, if I'm not mistaken. They said we put it out there, but you know, they shot it down. I know you didn't do the negotiation, but what do you think? What do you think about that? Do you think that the skilled workers deserve a little bit more?
Absolutely, they deserve a little bit more, but you got to look at it that you can't. APWU, represents more than 200 different job descriptions. So
Yes.
while we're talking about the drivers and we're talking about the ETs, you also got to talk about the custodians. And you
Hmm.
also got to talk. So when you negotiate, you're negotiating for a percentage across the board.
Did you say
Every so
200 different job positions?
yes, you got different. Look in the clerk craft. You got the lead clerk. You got the SSD clerk. You got the distribution clerk. You got that. Yeah, I mean, you got the MVO driver. You got the TTO driver. I
The
mean,
PDO.
you
All right, right.
if you go to apw.org and go to the Director of Industrial Relation page, and you look at the on the industrial relation page, you go over there, and I think it's oh my God, I'm looking at it right now. Um, you can click on the button. It's over there under the local negotiator. It's under the elm. Well, if you click on it, it'll show you every job description in the post office and in APWU. And you'll see that there's over 200 different job descriptions. You got the ramp clerk, you got these different clerks. So when you're negotiating a percentage that goes across the board. So and I totally agree. Some of these jobs need a lot more. Like we can't get motor vehicle drivers because we're not competing with private industry. We
I was gonna
need to
get there.
compete.
Right.
We need to compete with private industry, and it'll be something I'll try to raise their salary because you said, why can't you get them? You can't pay them. So a lot of times we're getting the drivers that need to you go to a private industry and they say you need 2 years experience. So they go get a job at the Postal Service, stay there 2 years and they leave where they can go get some real money. So they're basically using us as a training facility and not an opportunity at a better life and a better living. We have to do
Mhm.
something about that. But there's plenty. We are attempting to do some things about that. And in arbitration, it's not like the union goes and forgets these separate crafts. But if you go and divide these crafts on their own, how much do you think a custodian, when you open up the help wanted pages, how many custodians you know making $50,000 and $60,000 a year? In the
Yeah, they
post
they make
office, they are. So on
yeah,
one end of the scale, you getting them paid very well, but at the top end of the scale, with the more skilled labor, they're not quite where they need to be. It goes back to my original conversation. It's about progress, not perfection. And each time you go, you got to go back for a little more and a little more and a little more until you get. I mean, my grandfather used to always tell me, I'm going to vote no matter what. I'm going to vote for the dog catcher because me, as a black man coming from the South, has never had the opportunity to vote for the best candidate. I've always voted for progress, hoping that I get a little closer and a little closer to the goal. That's the same thing in negotiations because you're not going to be able to go forward with a litany of lists after you protect, because people think that the contract is about money. The contract, let me give you an example. The contract in APWU has always been about job security. How many places can you go where they got a no layoff clause? They can't lay you off regardless of the circumstances for anything. In fact, at the signing of the contract, they said anybody currently on the rolls had no layoff protection. Normally, you got only no layoff protection after 6 years of service, right? But they
correct.
said nobody on the rolls as the signing of this contract has no layoff protection. They can't access you more than 50 miles. That's a great benefit that you don't see in other places. So now the contract has always been about job protection and job security. Even when I'm negotiating something, I'm fighting more for the jobs than I'm fighting for the money, because the Postal Service would like to have 10 drivers doing 20 drivers work. I would like to have
Yes.
20 drivers getting paid. That's my
Right.
goal, right? So
Right.
here's the thing. And so the thing about it is, let's take UPS. Everybody was like, oh man, I need to go work for UPS. Look at the
I-
contract that they got. You remember that?
yes.
Okay, look at the money they got. We need a real union. We need something like UPS. Fast forward the clock. Did you see where they said that they laying off 20,000 UPS workers?
Drivers.
Okay,
Yes.
so now all of a sudden, if you was talking to a UPS worker right now, would they rather have the job security with a little less money, or more money with no job security? Because they got this great contract for half of their fleet that they're getting rid of.
Oh,
So it's we go back, Brother Jay, to
damn.
perspective. We got to go back to perspective here. I understand that we could do better and we will do better, but our expectations can't be for this to happen overnight. We didn't get to where we at today overnight. The strike was 1970, 50 years fast forward the clock. We're still fighting now as much to maintain what we earned and try not to lose nothing. And there is
Mm.
no other union that has that no layoff protection. So the thing about it is how you look at it. Yeah, I damn sure want more money for the higher skilled workers, but I'm obligated to make sure that I get at least an equal share for all the workers I represent, because I don't just represent motor vehicle drivers. I don't just represent mechanics. I represent the clerks. I represent the custodians. I represent everybody. But let's also look at the COLA. We get a full COLA. The other postal unions negotiated a weighted COLA. Look how much money we made in the last contract just from the COLA raises. It would have
I
added
believe it
another
came out to,
$30,000. Huh?
was it like 14 grand or something
Some
across?
even higher than that. When you crap, because the thing about it is, you can't just calculate the COLA. You got to calculate the raise with the COLA. So when you calculate the raise with the COLA over your lifetime of your contract, you just made 14, 15 grand. So you got to look at that's all goes into the economic package. It's not just the raises. All of that is a part. And every time that you get a PSC converted to a full-time regular, if you was looking to what DeJoy said at last negotiations before this, he said every time we hire a new PSC and convert them to regular, it costs the Postal Service $1 million. So say you get 20 PSCs converted, you just cost the Postal Service how much money? $20 million.
Dollars.
That's part of the economic package too. When you got language in there for automatic conversion after 2 years, every time they got to convert one of those PSCs, that's another $1 million. We going
Okay.
back to perspective, brother.
So,
Perspective.
but here's the thing. That last contract, the turnout was trash because
Mm-hmm.
people are not voting because they don't feel heard.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I hear everything you're saying. I love what you're saying. But if you get in, how do you bring the members into the process early enough so that they feel heard? You know what I mean? Because I like the way Diamondstein was up until when you didn't hear anything, because he was giving updates and all of a sudden it got quiet.
But we
And
got
I
to
was
look at
like,
ourselves too. Listen, I always say you got to look in the mirror. And,
okay,
and I'm the number one person that promotes transparency. But
okay.
guess what? Every time he tried to promote transparency, before he could leave the room, it was out on social media. And the
Mm,
Postal Service looking at that. So your element of surprise, your negotiating strategy is blown because you putting everything out. So a lot of times, how willing would you be to put out your strategy and put out where you're trying to go when people want to be the first to report because they act like they on CBS or NBC News? They want to be the first to report. They like they the ones that's going to get the scoop. So now you got the strategy all out on social media. In some areas, you can't be but so transparent because people don't keep it to themselves. And I
mm.
understand that perspective, but there is other areas too where they can be honest with the members and be truthful with the members and tell them negotiations, if you have never done it, it's not easy. Do you really think that you're going to walk in the room and say we want $10,000 and the Postal Service going to be like, fuck the Postal Service, any business, you management, and I tell you I want $10,000, and JH is going to say you absolutely right, we're going to give you that. The
Yeah.
Postal Service mission hasn't changed. When has the Postal Service stopped trying to get more for less? When? Tell me when. When has UPS stopped trying to get more for less? When is the
Mm,
longshoremen? Did you just see that strike where they was trying to get more for
yeah.
less? And you got to realize that we have boundaries that those other unions don't have. We do not have the right to strike. We do not have the right to walk off the job under the Teller Act. Now, my thing is, they said we need to take a job action. Okay, we need to take a job action. If I went to the postal employees right now and said we all need to walk out the job, how many people be behind me? How many? Come on, Jay. How many people you think are gonna walk out the door behind me? See,
Oh
I
man.
grew up on let's not talk the talk. Are you gonna walk the walk? It's easy to puff up your chest when you ain't got nothing at stake. But
Mm.
when it's time for you to be out there, so if you are ready to take a real job action, when we have a rally, next time, let's see you out there. Let's see you saying no justice, no peace. Let's see you saying up there, shut them down. If we don't get what we want, shut them down. But where are we at? I can't get there because they gave me overtime. So I can't put in 2 hours annual because, you know, I got to stop. But if they gave you tickets to the Yankee game and they told you you could sit anywhere you want, are you going to sit up there in the bleacher? Are you going to sit up there where people can't see you? Or are you going to be up there at field level so you can see all the action? Well, the action is on the front line. The action is 25 years in the Postal Service, never been to a union meeting. Why don't you show up at a union meeting, get into action, and then tell me what's going on? Why don't you show up at your union office and tell them that I want to be a shop steward? Get in the battle and show me how easy. Every time I have a shop steward class, every time I train 2 stewards, 6 months later, I'm lucky if I got 2 left. And you know what they always tell me? I can't deal with them people. They don't listen. And they ain't talking about management. They ain't talking about management. They talking about their coworkers. So I mean, let's keep this thing real. I'm a straight shooter, man, and I'm not going to sugarcoat it. And when I talk to my members, listen, I wasn't happy. You'll see a video that I put out the last time we had a rally. People say, y'all did good. You had 400 people out there. Not when I got 5,000 members. I'm embarrassed. Where are you at? And let me ask you a question, Brother Jay. Somebody threaten you, tell you they're going to beat your behind, right?
Yep.
So you come and get me. No, I come and get you. I come and get you, right? And I said, dude, they talking about they're gonna jump me, JH, right? So you go over there because you gonna handle this, right? So you go over there and say, yo, y'all threatening my brother? We ain't gonna have this because I ain't gonna have nobody threaten my brother. And they go, what brother? You look back and I'm gone.
Oh, shit.
You still gonna fight? Are you still gonna fight? That's what they're asking us to do a lot of times. They're asking us to fight without our army. Even back in the colonial days, what did they always? They always had gold and stuff because they was always trying to raise an army. Well, the postal employees is our army. Where are you standing? I asked you sometime to do something simple. Okay, you can't be a steward. Pick up the phone and call your senator. The Paycheck Act, where they're trying to stop taking dues out of your paycheck. How many people will pick up the phone? This last action, where they was trying to sneak it in the budget bill, where they was trying to get rid of the supplement, which was a travesty. Remember they were trying to get rid of the supplement, which was a promise back from 1984 when they took us and put us in FERS and took us out of civil service. That was a promise that they gave us, but they tried to take it away. They tried to give you an additional FERS increase, which was basically a pay cut, that they want to take you from 0.08% to have you pay 4.4%. And they wanted to calculate your retirement not on the high 3, but on the high 5. And so we put out the call, not even having to leave your living room. Everybody, we need you to flood your senators, flood your Congress people, flood your representatives. You know how poor that call was? You know how many people couldn't take the time to pick up the call? But no, it's the union's fault. It's the union's fault. At some point, you have to take some responsibility. At some point, you got to look in the mirror. Let me tell you something. I got the receipts. You can see all my years of activation. You can see all my years of fight. And if you was around during COVID, it wasn't you that they threatened to fire. They threatened to fire me because I was raising so much hell. I was in the
That's when the
stages
first
with the
time I
members
saw
every
you. I
day.
remember that.
All right,
That's
I
the
was
first
raising
time I
hell.
saw you.
And they said, if you don't stop raising hell, we're going to put you up for removal. Now, I had been in every supermarket in New York. I couldn't find no toilet paper, so I wish they hurry up and send some toilet paper because I could use it. So give me that removal. But I didn't see nobody coming to my rescue. I see the members are under the misimpression that the union is there to fight for you. The union is there to fight with you. My question is, where are you? Where are you? I'm there. I'm there at every rally. I'm there at every battle. I'm there at every fight. Where are you? Are you willing to fight with me? You want to change the union? You want to change the outcome? You want to change the future of the Postal Service? You want to change the future for your children? Because this is the last bastion where you don't have to go to college, where you can have a decent blue-collar job, where you could take care of a family. You could buy a house. You could buy a car and stuff like this. We must preserve this, but we will not be able to preserve this if we don't wake up and stop and get out of our zombie state and realize this is our fight. not just the union representatives fight. This is all of our fight. Where are you?
There's one thing that I've realized amongst my peers is that there's a word that scares everybody. I know the other word is called accountability, self-accountability. And people felt like it was like, oh man, this guy's anti-union. I'm like, no, I'm not anti-union. I just want people to be accountable for their own actions. If you want change, you got to step up and get involved. I tell them that, oh, the union ain't doing nothing. And I said, there are some situations where the union halls, and I was talking a lot to the NALC, the union halls are far away from them. And I said, they got to have something where they would have Zoom meetings, et cetera, so that they can be, heard at least, because my union hall may be 5 miles away. But for somebody that's, 60 miles away, that's the same union hall. You know what I mean? So they're not going to drive 65 miles to go there. I'm believing that they need to have some type of, Zoom setup. But once they did that, I know that they, one of the NALC places, they set that up and still nobody showed up on the Zoom. Now, what's the excuse now? They went throughout the whole, they went and they started doing it. So it's about personal accountability, which I believe is just kind of fading away. Because just like you said, back in the days, y'all fought for and with each other, but now it's everybody pointing fingers at each other.
Let
But anyway,
me give you an example, Brother Jay. See, I happen to be blessed because I came up in the late 80s and 90s when union was union, when these leaders didn't play with you, right? And I had this supervisor that was off the hook. Like we got a lot of this on workroom harassment right now with these supervisors off the hook, right? And one of my coworkers, my older coworkers, came to me one day and he said, "Man, you don't look good." I said, "I'm all right." He said, "Man, I said you don't look good." I said, "Oh." So basically what happened is everybody called out sick for 3 days.
fuck.
So no. This wasn't dependent on the leadership of the union. This was the membership taking control. Because some stations where you got management ask them for permission what to do. In other stations, they talk about, oh, I got people running around talking about, I don't fear nobody but God. But as soon as the supervisor goes, see, look how they talk. Hold on, I thought you ain't fear nobody but God. One supervisor got you jumping. So it was the plant manager called us and said, please come back to work. We moved that supervisor. She won't be back over there no more. We didn't depend on the union to fix the situation. We fixed the situation. You got supervisors that will go on the workroom floor and cuss you out in front of everybody. And because it's not you, you won't give a statement, you won't say nothing, you don't want to get involved. All right? And so how is that the union's fault? Because if you had a case and you hired an attorney and you paying an attorney thousands and thousands of dollars, right, Brother Jay?
Yes.
When you sit down with that attorney, what's the first thing they're going to ask you for? All your evidence, everything they need to put your case together. Well, what is the union?
Right.
Are we asking for any different? Give me all your evidence, give me everything, give me statements. I don't want to get involved. See, people don't, it's not a problem until it's your problem. I came up under the time that if you mess with any of us, it was my problem. You mess with all of us. We all for one. We have to get that attitude back. If you get that attitude back, I was watching this show. A show called Locked Up, right? You ever heard of that show?
Yeah, I
They
watched it.
and they were interviewing one of the correction officers. And they told the correction officers, y'all outnumber 50-1. Y'all don't have no weapon or nothing. How do y'all control them? He said, we don't do nothing but what they give us permission to do. And we treat them with respect. The Postal Service could be the same way. Their management won't do nothing but what we give them permission to do. Because if we don't do what we do, they can't look good. They shouldn't be getting a bonus based on us not using our sick leave. That's not a tangible reason for them to get a bonus. But we still got people running around. Huh?
There you go. I lost you for a second. Woo!
Yeah. But we still got people going around wanting to be management pet. Do me a favor, until they get in trouble. Now they want to run to the union. Listen, I wish that we had a closed shop. A closed shop would be beautiful, because if we had a closed shop, it would automatically change the attitude of the postal employee and that member. Because when you got a closed shop, if you don't like your leadership, then the first thing come to your mind, we got to get better leadership. It's not quitting. Because we got an open shop and you got a choice whether to belong or not, the first thing that they want to do is quit. But they ain't not a quitter. But what you're doing is you're making these politicians that want to privatize the post office happy, because as you quit, they feel like that you have no unity, you have no control. It gives them the authority to do what they want to do. Whether you're in the union or not, the people that's in the leadership positions are going to make decisions that affect you. When I was frustrated, and I'm using myself as an example, and I came to the union meeting and I didn't think my union leadership was doing everything for me. I went and talked to some people and said, let's get together. We're going to put together a team and we're going to run against them. And then I was shocked. I won. Then the real work started. Then I got the reality of some of this stuff I was talking was nonsense, but some of it was real. But what I was is I became the change that I wanted to see. I didn't complain about it. I went in there and became the change. I became the leadership of the union. I gave the people confidence because they saw me fighting. And if you know anything about me, whether you like me or hate me, you know I'm a fighting ass. And I fight with management. And I am not going to say a lot of this in front of management, but sometimes you have a contractual responsibility, but you also have a moral responsibility. Listen, bring your ass to work. You get $70,000 a year and you come to work act like it's optional. You show up when you feel like it. It don't work like that. Do you want me to put in the grievance for your right not to work? No, no, it don't work like that. It takes the membership to make the conditions better. And once they become part of it, I will always have an open line with the members. And here's the thing, a big mistake that I think APW have. We have a much younger membership now through all the conversions, and a lot of the old timers retired and stuff like that. I think the last statistic I heard was at least $80,000 members was newly converted from PSCs. That means a lot of them are young. They don't know nothing about the labor movement. They don't know nothing about the strikes. And we have fallen in our responsibility to educate them about the rights they have and the struggles that it took to get these rights. So we have to find a way to get on social media, like a podcast that you have, or short videos, and meet them where they at. Because anytime you see a young person, where they at? They all on their phone. And the unions got to have short, quick messages, because their attention span is not that long, on what we need them to do and how they could get involved with their union. But we're not making an attempt. We still talking about how we used to do it. We used to do it for the employees we used to have. When we going to do something different for the employees we have now? We don't have those employees no more. So you have to meet them where they're at.
Shit. Okay. All right. So I think you covered every question that I got. I'm looking at my questions, but excuse me. Um, Management versus craft.
Yes.
You ever see people getting written up for breathing too loud? Is there a way to build a bridge basically between craft and management without selling out? I had a lady today that I told her about this is coming on this evening, and she damn near said everything that you were just saying, but she said, you know, a lot of the members are upset because they know that she can talk to management. She said, listen, I'm gonna be cordial with management, but they're not gonna disrespect my members. I have to keep this open line with them, because when the time is right, when you need something, I'm gonna go to them and make sure that it's done. But if they mess with you, I'm gonna fight with you. So, you know, a lot of the workers do not like union heads, whether it be a shop steward, vice president, whatever, being cool with management. You know, I use the term of being in bed with management. But is there a way to build a bridge between craft and management without, you know, selling out?
You got to give me her number, because I like her. You got to give me her number.
She
Here's the
fired. She
thing.
on fire.
I encourage my representatives and myself to build a relationship with management. Back when the union and the workers was the strongest, is because of the relationship between management and the union. It was 80% of the stuff that I deal with now. Back in the 80s and 90s, I could resolve with a phone call. I could pick up the phone and I said, come on, you know this is bull. And the manager would take care of the situation. It's important that you have a relationship because if everything goes to the grievance procedure, let me give you an example. Say they put you up for removal, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I finally get your case to arbitration. 8 months later, maybe a year later, right? So now we win the case. We get full back pay, everything, right? Make you completely whole. Did you win? No. I'm going to tell you why you didn't win. What about your credit score that went down because you couldn't pay your bills?
Oh,
What about your mortgage that you wasn't able to pay? What about your wife in your ear talk about what we gonna do and stuff like that and what's going on? No, you didn't win. You did not win because those things, even though you got full back pay, you're not going to be able to make up that stuff. What if they already foreclosed on your house before you could get this resolved? Or what if you went into your retirement and you had to borrow from your retirement to stay afloat? No. But you can sometimes have a relationship with management where you don't have to go the 8 months and the 9 months. It's important to have a relationship. It's no different than a relationship. Are you a father?
I am.
Okay,
And a
you're a father,
grandfather.
right? You got
Yes,
you
sir.
got a son or a daughter, or both.
Oh, I have 6 kids and 8 grandkids.
Well, we know you pretty busy, but but here's my point. You got a great relationship with your kids, right?
Most of them. They adults now.
For the most part, you got a good relationship with
Yes.
your kids. But the thing about it is, I don't care how old they get, you're not going to stop being daddy.
Right.
And there's going to be a line that they got to understand. I don't care how old they get, they can't cross it because you have a different responsibility. I set a line with management. We could be cool, but if you cross that line, that ass is mine. That ass is mine, and you're going to get the full extent of the law. And you in the 204B, the day that you mess with somebody that I represent, you're a supervisor that day, and you're going to get the butt kicking that a supervisor get. I don't want to hear that I'm a union member. On that day, you wasn't a union member, so you get the supervisor's treatment. So yes, it's important that you have a relationship, but it's not only important that you have a relationship with management, it's important that we have a relationship with each other. A lot of our problems, the T7, that's the lead clerk in the station. That was introduced into negotiations not by the union, by management. Management says the purpose of the T7 is to eliminate the need of the supervisor. Basically, what they were saying is, who can run the operation better than the employees? We don't need a supervisor in there. The supervisor's only job really is to input your time and stuff like that. But as far as running the station, nobody knows how to run the station better than the employees. But what happens is they become a T7 and now they want to be the boss. They want to tell everybody what to do. So the purpose and the intent of that language is there, but it's not being invoked properly because of the attitude of the employee. Because it says that you could do anything as a T7, but you cannot do discipline.
Right.
So basically, they says we don't need no supervisor in this station and stuff like that. We can use the T7 to put in the time, which gives us extra jobs to do, which gives us extra job security because now we have another job to do. But some places would rather have the supervisor, or they get in there and they think they are the supervisor. A lot of times, it's not the language in the contract; it's the way that management misapplies it and the employees misunderstands it. And that comes through education. And I'm hoping to have more town halls, not just to hear what I got to say to them, but to hear what they got to say to me so I can answer their questions. Because everybody I looked in the Postal Service, I took a good look. I went in the facility today and I realized, Jay, everybody is grown. So don't think I'm gonna baby you. It's baby time is over. I'm not gonna baby you. I'm gonna keep it real. You know? A lot of times our problem is our perspectives and our attitude. Attitude is everything. I'm always upbeat because I'm always believe that things could be better. Things could be better. No, they're not where I wanted to be, but if I keep fighting, but I know that I will never get to perfection. I realize that my job is to take it up the road until I hand it to somebody else. Just like somebody took it up the road until they could hand it to me. But
Mm.
I'll never get to perfection. And the employees got to be the same way. Yeah, it's not perfect, but you go out there in private industry, you know the hardest thing for a postal worker, get fired from the postal service and you go for
Shit.
another job. They'll say, especially you in the South,
Oh.
come on now. They'll say, hold on, private industry now. They had to give you a warning. What job you go to, they got to give you a warning that they're going to fire you. They got to give you let's go even worse than that, a discussion. They got to have a discussion with you.
Yeah.
Then they got to
Levels of
give you a letter
discipline.
of warning. Then they got to give you a 7-day. And only then can they give you a 14-day. And if you good for whatever the retention period is, 8 months, 2 years, they got to start all over again. You know how hard it is to do. I used to work with a guy that used to have a friend that nobody could see but him. And he made it to retirement, okay? And it got to the point where I used to say good morning to him and his friend. That's just what it is. I've got people in the Postal Service that had to go to rehab 7 and 8 times. You think that's going to happen in private industry? That's not a reality that's going to happen in private industry. That only happens because people, a lot of times they're young and their first job that they get is in the postal service. So they don't have a reality of real life out there in private sector. You said, well, I don't feel good today. Can I stay home? And in private industry, they say, you ain't got to come back no more.
Mm.
That's the reality of what we're dealing with. We have it great language in the contract that gives us a lot of latitude. We got people that's been put up for removal 4 or 5 times. We have people that's dealing with alcohol and drug addiction, but they still working in the postal service. And let me give you the greatest example of why I love the postal service. I was here back in 9/11. I had to go down to Church Street when the planes hit, right?
Oh.
And when the planes hit, when the first one hit, I was like, "Oh, that's a bad accident." When the second one hit, I ain't gonna tell you what happened to my pants, but let's just get out of
Mm.
that, right?
Mm.
But the reality is, when I went down there, I was even down there helping to try to recover some of the bodies and going in the rubble and pulling out nothing but an arm, and nothing came with it. All right.
Shit.
And you was down there at the World Trade Center where they have Fortune 500 companies. We had a facility down there called Church Street Station, Wall Street, some facilities around
Yep.
there. Those employees got sent to Morgan or other facilities within our installation, not because management wanted to, but the contract said they had to. They had to keep them gainfully employed. They didn't lose one car payment. They didn't miss one mortgage payment. But guess what? The people from Fortune 500 said, I wish I worked for the Postal Service, because you know what they got? Through all that tragedy, all that pain, all that suffering, they got a pink slip and said, if we open back up, we'll call you.
Yeah, I was watching that recently. I saw a documentary about that.
So all of a sudden, do the Postal Service look that bad? It's not as
Mm.
bad as we make it. Can it be better? Absolutely, it could be better. But it's us that's got to make it better. But don't make it like it's the worst thing that ever happened, because that's you not being honest then.
So here's the thing. You said there's about 80% of younger people that are in the APWU. What would you do to get them involved? I mean, your area, New York, we built different, but around the country is different. You know, they get discouraged very easily. It's
Mm-hmm.
not an excuse for them, but just like you were talking about, there has to be ways to reach out to them. If you were talking every day like this, that's great. You showing up here now. I respect that. I respect the hell out of you. You answered every question before I could even answer them. But
Mm-hmm.
when you get up top, how do you translate your passion to the younger generation so they can feel that, so they could want to be involved? So, I mean, it's one thing to say, hey, I got all of this because I did this. Right now, they discouraged, just like you said. They getting talked to, they getting disrespected by management, cursed at, and there is no unity. So how do you translate that to people that are discouraged? You know, I can sit here and talk
Let
about
me
they got to self-reflect, but There has to be a
Well,
way to teach them. They got to want it, but
I
how do you
got
get
that.
that message to it?
I got that. I want your viewers to go to APWU, New York Metro, Passing the Torch. It's a project that I started. I put the retirees and those that are around during the strike in the same room as the young members because you can't appreciate what you have until you know how it was. And then
Shit.
they'll find out that the postal workers, the women used to not be allowed to wear pants. So they was loading and unloading trucks. They had to do it in skirts. In fact, there were not many women in the postal service. You know how women got in the postal service? Women got into the postal service because of the Vietnam War. All the men was off fighting, so they had to have somebody to do the work. So the women started getting jobs in the postal service, and after the 1970 strikes, they started getting managerial opportunities and stuff like that. And because we have failed in our responsibility to educate these young people, and what I want to do when I get to the national level, I want to finish this project because part one was before the strike and what was the impact of the strike. Part two, I wanted to be after the strike. What was the gains? Because we didn't have cola. The old postal work didn't
Back
have
then, yeah,
cola.
right.
In fact, you know how we used to get a raise? You complaining about the raise you get now? They used to have to beg Congress. Imagine now if we had to wait for Congress to put some legislation through for us to get a raise. And they went and they all took a ride to Washington, D.C., and they had a bag full of peanuts, and they was throwing the peanuts all over Capitol Hill saying, we're tired of receiving peanuts. This is the actions that our forefathers and foremothers took in order for us to get some of the rights that we have today. So once
Damn.
they have an understanding of the sacrifices that was made, because I don't think there's many of them that ever been out bumper rally on a picket line or anything, not only for the postal workers, but for any of the other struggle within the labor union. Because I also happen to be an executive board member of the CLC that represent 1.2 million New Yorkers. So I'm in the struggle everywhere. I'm also happen to be a member of the Central New Jersey NAACP and stuff like that. I also happen to be the most proud member on the youth leadership in my church, reaching back for these young peoples, letting them know that every opportunity is out there, but it's only if you go grab it. If I give
I'm
you
gonna
a
stop you
hand,
right there. I'm gonna stop you right there just because you said that. Sam Moore, I'm reading it. Says you do not force people. You are outreaching to come to you. You must meet them halfway. Now, all due respect, Sam, I know you come in here and you comment quite often, but this man, you can lead a horse to the water, but you can't make him drink.
but you
He
sure
is
can let them
telling
know
you
how good it
there
tastes.
the process is there. He's not gonna knock on your door. He's not gonna knock on your door and say, "Come on, I'm gonna drive you there." No, you gotta want it. He's giving you. He's providing it for you. He's telling you there is something there, but the people have to want it. I mean, he's saying you're outreaching to come to you. Yeah, you outreach. You can't force a drug addict to come to a meeting. You can't. They have to want it themselves. Now, if you want the change, you got to be part of it. I'm sorry for interrupting you. Go ahead, brother.
Yeah, but also, brother, you could go all the way back to the civil rights movement. If we was waiting for hearts to change, where you think we would have went? We had to get out there and we had to get in them streets. The only thing that changed it when they saw them young people getting dog sick on them and waterhound, it was the youth. It was the energy. It was the women's suffrage movement. All those movements, the civil rights movement, all those movements took young people and energy because my fight the power ain't what it used to be. It's like fight the power. It used to be fight the power. We go get in there, you know. This is where it starts. It starts with education because if you don't know what you're fighting for, then how can you fight? You got to understand the sacrifices that was made for you to get. The other problem that we got starts with the people of my generation because what they want to cling to power and they don't want to get out the way and they don't want to train these young people as stewards or young officers within the local because they feel like they're going to take their job. But that used to be a blessing back in the early years, because when they were nipping at your heels, it kept you on your toes. It made sure that you had to keep delivering, or it was somebody behind you waiting to take your place. So the strategy is not to educate the young members to be the next leadership behind you. The strategy is we'll keep them ignorant so they won't be a threat to us. And now we're going to stay around till we 70 and 80 years old. So what message are you sending to the Postal Service if that's the best that we got to offer, and we got no bench sitting up there with young people ready to take leadership roles? But they got to come, just like you were saying, you only got to come to one meeting that's 60 miles away with enough people to make a motion to put it on Zoom. Now you got to get in front of your TV, but you can make the change. But if you're too lazy to come to that first meeting, how are you going to be able to make the change? It can be done. It's your perspective. My grandfather used to say this: people that complain all the time don't bother me because they found something they're good at. Yeah, they found something they're good at. Because when you ask them, well, okay, give me a list of what you have done, not what the union have done. Give me a list, especially if you tell me you've been in the Postal Service 15, 20 years. Give me a list of what you've done to make a difference, and then I'll shut up.
I just put all my questions away. I ain't even got no questions. It's very rare that you can shut the old man up, but you're doing it well. You're doing it well. Damn. Boy, you speaking everything I speak. You just getting the message across a little bit more better. You know what? And I'm glad that we have a lot of carriers that are watching. I'm looking at two different screens. I'm glad we have carriers watching, because the carrier craft, in my opinion, they have it's a struggle for them right now. You know what's going on with them, and a lot of them are, they're dealing with the heat and them tin cans and everything. They gotta have people. They have some internal fighters. They just got to get on the forefront and have that same passion like you. Now, I might have to have you come on a few more times, because sometimes it takes somebody like you that's in it, in the trenches, to actually just change one person's perspective. And if you change one person's perspective, that one person's going to go out their way to change another person's perspective. You know,
Absolutely.
I have a chat group with nothing but carriers, never carried, but three of them now, three or four of them stepped into the union role that weren't there before. And, they decided they wanted to be the change that they wanted to see. So that's just four different parts of the, country, but I'm proud of that. So we just need more of that from the APWU aspect, because our shop stewards at my plant, they're older. Yes, they're not going to be here much longer. I know my craft director just retired a few months ago. We don't have any union shop steward. Even the president retired. So my craft director retired, and I believe the maintenance, he's still there, but I don't know, but for how much longer. And then we have a couple of clerk craft, shop stewards, but we need more. We need more.
Well,
A lot of them are discouraged.
and it's just, you think I don't get discouraged? But I understand how I go is how my members go. And if I'm sitting up there telling them we ain't got no chance to win, this the end of the world, then how are they going to believe? I got to believe. Don't nobody expect more from Jonathan than Jonathan. I'm my harshest critic. And I lead by example. I'm the first one out there in this fight. But I'm telling you, I cannot win this fight without you. I cannot get you what you want. But I also got to be honest that your expectations got to be reasonable. But let's be honest with ourselves too. The Postal Service is not the worst job in the world. Everybody ain't around there killing themselves and come home completely pooped out and exhausted and can't do nothing else for the rest of the day. I mean, come on. Some of the greatest people that I've met is in the Postal Service. More loyal than some of your biological family in the Postal Service. I mean, come on now. I mean, yeah, I'm not gonna sit up there and have blinders over my eyes and not like we got some managers that's a problem, and we even got some employees that's a problem. But that's not called postal service. That's called life. You know, you got people out here in the regular world that's unreasonable. You can't talk to them about nothing. You know, one of the most frustrating things, have you ever been around somebody that ain't never got nothing good to say about nobody, nothing, and all that, and they complain and all that? They
Yes.
wear you out. They sap your energy. You know, you got to
Negative
have
Nancy?
something
Yes.
good to say about something, someplace, somewhere, something. You know, but like I told you, and it's easy for me to handle it because I had a wonderful grandfather that's my hero. They found something good at, so let them keep doing it.
Mm,
Complaining, you know. So, but I rather go make a difference. Here's the reality: nobody appreciates you while you're in the middle of the fight, while you're putting it all on the line. Because my family suffers. I give a lot of hours. They think that my family, my girlfriend, is the union. Because I'm working 14, 15, 16 hours days. Nobody
right.
ever asks, Jonathan, how you doing? How you feel? They always coming to me with their problems because it's not a concern. I'm not supposed to be able to miss. I can't even remember the last time I really took a vacation. But I'm not complaining because that's what I signed up for. And that's what it takes. And I understand that.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm just trying to, like you say, get people to change their perspective. I'm never gonna promise you perfect. It ain't gonna be perfect, but it could be a lot better only with your help. We cannot do it by ourselves. We cannot. And things have changed over the years because I remember how it used to be, and I'm a historian. I love my retirees. My retirees were the reason why the Staples campaign was successful. My retirees might as well have been carriers because they went out there in front of Staples to protest rain, snow, sleet, gloom of day. My retirees was out there. Where were the people that's currently working at? They couldn't take the time off to come out there to fight for their own jobs. But see, the retirees are like me. They have it in their DNA because they remember how it used to be. And you can't get
Mm-hmm.
mad at them because we always want to share the struggles with them, but we're not sharing what it used to be like, how it was. Because it's easy to look at what you're going through, but it's so much better to look at how far you came. And if you look at how far you came from what it used to be, you'll realize it ain't that bad. It could be better, but we came a long, long way. That a lot of people got a real decent retirement because of their service to the Postal Service. A lot of people doing pretty decent right now, driving in a nice car because of the Postal Service, living in a nice home. So, you know, an old timer told me one time, he said, what do you want 10 years from now? And I was like, I want a house, I want a car, I want and he said, okay, so when you gonna start appreciating what you already got? Because why would God give you more when you don't appreciate what you got now?
Ooh. Ooh. Damn. Hit him with it. Well, well, Mr. Oh man. Man, I'm really hoping that your words translate over to everybody that's listening, even if just two people actually change their perspective here. Because there's people from all over the country. I think we even have somebody from Hawaii here. Even if just two people start to change, it moves forward. I am not a carrier. I was out there with the carriers when they were protesting. Myself and my little 10-year-old son, we were out there. We even did a live just to show the unity, to say, hey, I'm here with you. I stand with you. This is your job, is all of our jobs. And it was a small turnout because I live in a big town somewhere USA. And I was like, I expected more because we probably got, I'm guessing, over 9,000, maybe 10,000 carriers from the district that I'm in. And there was barely 100, maybe 60. I was disappointed, but we need more unity. And This one here says solidarity. The word solidarity seems like it's getting played out, but it is. It is what it is. Stand together, unity, one, as one. Solidarity, meaning that we need to be together, bound, one, same mission, same goal. Everybody's yeah, they like what you're saying there. So I don't know if you could read these comments, but
I
you'll
can't see
read
the
them after.
comments, but let me say this. And like you're gonna hear me quote my grandfather often because I'm so glad. When I was a young hardhead, I wasn't listening to none of this mess. I was like, oh, here he go preaching again. I got so much in him now that I remember one day I was talking to my son. I said, oh my God, I sound like my grandfather, and my son is me. But what he kept doing is he said, I'm going to talk to you 100% of the time, hoping that the right 10% of what I'm saying gets into your head. I'm
Mm.
going to keep encouraging the postal workers. I'm going to keep fighting for the postal workers until my last breath, hoping that the right 10% of what I'm saying will get into you. You see, sometimes I'm going to give out because I'm only human. Sometimes I'm going to get tired, because life shows up. But I can't never give up because I'm a child of God and I answer to a higher calling. See, my thing is, if I had to worry about keeping 200,000 APWU members happy, I might as well leave now. So I made my goal to make one God happy that I go and speak to every night. And one God leads me to do what I need to do for 200,000 people. And that's a goal that I can accomplish. And as long as I keep doing that, God's going to keep blessing me. Everybody's not going to agree with me, but guess what? I'm not expecting everybody to agree with me. I'm tough as leather. I'm here for all the smoke. I'm here for all the criticism, but I'm here also to tell you my truth based on my experience because I'm this guy. And if I could get a little personal,
let's talk about it.
I grew up with a mother that was mentally ill. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
My father was an alcoholic. I can use that as an excuse to fail, but the old timer says that excuse to fail or motivation to succeed. That's my motivation to succeed. And see, I remember one time I went and the old timer told me, I want you to write a letter to your mother. My mother committed suicide when I was very young. All right. So I went to the graveyard and I read this letter and I could not stop crying. And I remember going to the mental hospital to see my mother. And I would see my mother for a 3-hour visit. And all my mother would say is, Jonathan, Jonathan, Jonathan. And the old timer came up to me and he said, man, you such a liar. You told me your mother was crazy. She was out of her mind. I said, yes, she was. So then he grabbed me and he hugged me. He said, then you're the luckiest man in the world. I said, what do you mean? He said, you can't even see it, can you? This is a lesson on perspective. He said, if she forgot everything else, she never forgot her baby boy. Jonathan, Jonathan, Jonathan.
Mm.
That's the fire that keep me going. That's the cloth that I'm cut from. I don't use my circumstances as an excuse for my problems. I'm not allowed to make excuses, but I have a responsibility under God to make a difference. And I try to do that every single day.
I can't even follow up with no good questions right now, bro. I don't. we will talk behind the scenes. Your circumstances with your is very similar to mine. I haven't shared that with my people yet, but oh man, that's deep. So if you get the seat and you don't fight for the skill crafts, like you said, what are you gonna say to them in a year or two?
First of all, when I get the seat,
Okay.
all right, when I get the seat,
Speak it into existence.
and I'm going to fight, period. Not for the skilled craft. I'm going to fight for all the members.
Okay.
And where I see an opportunity based on the rate of private industry to show that we're not competitive with private industry, to have an opportunity to raise the salaries of those crafts that's not competitive with the salaries they're paying in private industry. If it comes down to have to take that before an arbitrator, I'll lose it, but I might lose it, but I'm going to fight for it. I ain't never. I'm going to fight for it. Somebody got to tell me no. I'm going to fight for it, but I got to have the goods to deliver. So if I go in there fighting for a particular craft, then that's separation within the walls of APWU. The fact circumstances have to support the argument. And the fact circumstances, such as motor vehicle, for an example, with what they're paying them in private industry, I think that we have a very good argument. But you also have a motor vehicle craft director. My job is not to go in there and do everything. My job is to run the orchestra. And I got this motor vehicle section. And I got this maintenance section, and I got this clerk section. And you elected directors that specific attention is supposed to be on those crafts. And if they tell me, based on the argument that we could put together with the cost comparison analysis on what they're paying the private industry, then we're going to go forward seriously in negotiations to try to bring them up to the appropriate rate. The Postal Service, trust me, understands that if they don't appropriate the rates, they're never going to stop the high turnover rate in crafts like motor vehicle, the ETs, the MPs, what we consider the skilled labor. They do understand that. Are they willing to
You
do
know
it?
that VMF has diesel mechanics. Diesel mechanics.
Absolutely. And I got a major
They should be
shortage
getting
in New
paid
York.
more.
I got a major shortage in New York because we go to these technical schools and we can't get a lot of these people to take these jobs because they're going out to the private industry that's going to pay them a lot more. That's an argument that we have to make. But just because we don't get it doesn't mean we haven't fought for it. We just wasn't successful.
So the ones like, so I got, obviously, I got people in every craft. So the people in the VMF, they're saying, oh, well, we ain't gonna get nothing. Not voting. Those are exact words. I know the people in my craft, man, I think maybe 5 of the people may have voted. That's truck drivers. And like, man, they keep talking about 10. We don't never gonna, hopefully we get 9. Talking about the level. You got obviously maintenance. Y'all got the electricians. You got the building maintenance. Nobody feels like their voices are being heard with the skilled craft labor. So they're not voting the way y'all can't monitor who specifically votes. But I know at my plant, virtually nobody voted because they feel like they're not being heard. A lot of the clerks did, because if you read the wording in it, a lot of it seems like it was tailored towards the clerks. Now, that's just what it seems when you read it. So it feels like a lot of the skilled laborers were left behind. Now, they did say, oh yeah, well, we attempted to look for, I heard when he was talking Diamondstein, when he was talking about the whole thing, he said they said they tried to work on something for the motor vehicle craft, but it wasn't successful this time. Like virtually nothing changed with them.
That's my
We still
point.
losing contracts.
But that's the point that I'm making right there. We act as though that we're negotiating with ourselves. We're not. When you say we didn't get it, it's because we weren't successful, not that we didn't try to get it. Those are two different dynamics. They were not successful. So then what you do, you regroup, you dust yourself off, you come back again, and you make another attempt. But that didn't mean that it was not argued for. It was not fought for. So it's still going to be attempts to get these crafts come up to the level, because in order for us to be competitive, but the bigger thing is this. Let's go outside the post office. They said 79 million people did not vote in the last presidential election.
Right.
Okay, so you're happy with what's sitting in the White House? So the thing about it is, the consequences don't go away. You got to put in there the best person that you believe is going to get you progress. That's why I'm not promising that I'm going to be successful, but I am promising that I'm going to fight. I'm going to fight like hell. And if you go to Jonathan Smith for Prez and you look at my history throughout the years, not when I was running for president, that's
What's
what
your
I
website?
do. I fight Jonathan Smith, the number 4, Prez. That's the campaign site. You go, you see all
Is
the
it
videos.
.org?
Huh?
.org or .com?
That's on Facebook. On
Oh,
Facebook. And you go there and you will see a lot of information. I want you to make an informed decision. I want you to see who I am, the person, not the candidate. Because if you know what my moral fiber is, and if you know what I've already done, then you know what I'm capable of doing. But quitting and complaining is not one of them. I'm going to fight like hell. But I can guarantee you this. I can make you the same promise that I made to New York Metro. Look at the condition Metro is in now compared to when I first came. Metro is much better off. Metro has their own training and conference center that cost us over $2 million. We only a 5,000 member local. You know how much money we borrowed from the bank to get that done? Zero. Because we tighten up because strategically we tighten up the strength, and the first salary I cut to show the sacrifice was mine. Because sacrifice has to be shared. This is the things you do. People don't believe that we could do big things because of our lack of unity. If we could find a way to come together, there's nothing, absolutely nothing we can't do.
understood. But I'm gonna still go right back to it because that's what they're asking. So here's the thing. You are fighting. I know you're a fighter. There was nothing spoken about. They didn't say there was no incentive to a mechanic to say, you know what? I heard they pushing for XYZ. Let me make sure I vote for it. Nope, you don't hear anything about what they're fighting for. There's no transparency when it comes down to the negotiations, which is a big issue that now I know you spoke before. Transparency has to be even a little bit. I know that Renfro, the carriers were very upset with him. But
that was
here
for a whole
goes.
different reason, though. Let me tell
Yeah.
you this. I know that some of these upgrades were attempted and fought for. I believe that they're supposed to have a town hall meeting with the members, and it's best that what they tried to do and what they were successful at and unsuccessful at, they should talk to the APWU Motor Vehicle Director, Mike Foster, and I believe that he's going to put something together in that town hall to address those concerns. Because I think the problem is perception again, what they got as opposed to what they tried to get. And that's where the transparency needs to be, because the people are upset and disenchanted because they don't believe APWU tried to get these things. And it's a different narrative if they say, we tried to get these things, but we were unsuccessful. People could swallow that a little better than, oh, we just didn't get it. Well, what did you do to get it? What was your proposal to get it? What did the Postal Service say? I understand, and those are very legitimate and real questions, and after negotiations, they should be answered. It shouldn't be a problem answering those questions. I can't answer those questions because I wasn't in the room and I wasn't a part of the team putting together the proposals, so I can't answer those questions. Those questions need to be laid at the feet of those that was in charge of negotiating for that craft. And I know Brother Foster myself that he's not opposed to being in the fire and answering those tough questions. And we will find out. And I wish I could give you the answer, but I'm being real. I can't give you an answer for a process I was not involved in.
Okay. Well, no, I'm not expecting you to give me the answer. But if you were in charge, and let's say you did do the fighting, to say you up there, you did do the fighting, we didn't get anything. Cool. Shit happens. We know. After the fact, we just got, they voted on it. They voted it in. Then, just like you said, a town hall, something. Look, we went in there. We asked for X, Y, Z. They said it. They said they couldn't. They only offered us this, and this is where we met in the middle. Right now, we got a contract, and nobody's even looking at it. Like, you ask anybody, well, I don't know where you're at, but I ask people now, I'm like, well, who won here? Do you ever know what's in the contract? I didn't even see the contract. I just got my ballot last week. Like, nobody I mean, it's embarrassing because the NALC, they showed up, but it was about 90-something thousand people went to vote for them.
Mm-hmm.
We barely got what, 30,000, 32,000?
Yeah.
That's embarrassing, man.
I
And that
I
meet
don't
that
disagree.
that's just like, I don't know if the younger people show the younger people, they don't even give a damn. I'm not gonna say who actually voted. And now we also got to remember that the retirees get to vote as well. So shit, it could have been like, a third of the votes could have been from the retirees who don't even have a real foot in the door at the moment, where they're saying, hey, we're gonna benefit
Well,
from
I
this.
think the retirees get to vote for their certain, I think it's 7 positions in the national election of representatives, like president, vice president, treasurer. I don't think they got it, they were able to vote in the ratification process.
Okay, okay.
So just to correct the
Clarity,
record, that's 30,000
clarity.
APWU members that actually voted, because the retirees were not able to vote for the ratification process.
I'm
But
reading the
they
comments. A
do
lot
have
of
a
them
right
just
to
said that
vote
they got
in the
late.
national election for like 7 positions of leadership, like the president, the vice president, the director of industrial relations, the treasurer, the health plan director, the legislative political director, and the human relations director. They do get to vote for those positions, but
Okay,
ratification, they weren't a part of ratification.
okay. When is do you have somebody that you want to run with, a slate, or are you just running and just going with whoever's gonna
I'm
go
running.
with you?
Well, I'm running for president. I made an announcement way back in July of 2024.
Mm-hmm.
And you notice that at the national level, there is no slate voting,
Right.
because the way the Constitution was designed is for each individual to stand on their own, to be able to show that they had the ability to do that particular job. Of course, they want to give the false narrative that it's one individual running against a team, when that's not true. Years ago, when I first won an election and nobody believed that I could win, it was 35 people on the executive board and we only had 6 positions. But guess who was sitting at the top of that pyramid? And those people gonna fall in line. You either get it, you either get with it or you get out. And that's how it works. So I'm running because I consider myself the candidate of the members, the candidate of the people. This is a
Mm,
ground roots campaign trying to say I'm the representative that will represent the people. I'm the one that's been on the workroom floor and understand the pain and the concerns from the workroom floor. Because sometimes you could be off the workroom floor so long and you lose touch with what's going on, and you don't have a realistic view of the workers. I like to always try to be on that workroom floor so those workers know that I am sharing in their pain and I am relating to their pain. No different than it was in COVID. I wasn't sitting in my ivory tower. I was down there where they were at. I was going through the same risks that they were going through, and I was letting them know that I care and that I love them. My strategy would be no different as the president of APWU. I'm doing this because my membership encouraged me to do this. My executive board encouraged me to do this. They said if you could do half of what you do for New York Metro for APW National, it would be a tremendous job.
mm.
I know how much that I have to give. I know what my passion is, and I know what my belief is. And I want to bring the next generation. I want to be that bridge, because I don't want to stay there forever. I've been fighting a long time. But I
Mm-hmm.
want to see that next generation of leadership, me prepare them to take APWU into a wonderful future that I know is waiting for us, but only if we have knowledgeable and capable leadership at the top. And I want to start building that bridge to get us prepared.
Boom. I love it. I love it. Not gonna hold you on too long. Give me good 10 minutes. 10 minutes.
Well,
Give me straight 10
we've
minutes
been
of
on
your
here,
word,
brother, a
brother.
lot more than the 30 minutes that you told me I was going to be on here for the
Bro,
30
I didn't
minutes.
know. I told you had all the time in the world. It's you. I'm
I
loving the
don't mind. I don't
comments.
mind though, brother. Because as far as
Bro,
I'm
you
concerned, we just having a rap session. I don't even really consider like an interview and stuff like that. You let me
this
do
ain't
my
no
thing.
interview.
You saying what you needed. We just having a conversation, and that's how I like to talk to my members. This ain't you talking to the president. There is no greater title than servant. I don't like president. I'm a servant. I serve the people to the best of my ability. I don't go by titles. And in my local, I expect you to respect the person that's emptying the garbage cans as much, if not more, than you respect me.
A lot of them don't feel seen, bro. A lot of them don't feel seen. And that low contract turnout, we got to change that. Got to get your voices out there because people want to feel like there isn't they feel discouraged. They're like, man, I feel like there's no help, there's no hope here. And that's from the carriers all the way over to the truck drivers. I got people that are like, man, fuck this, man. I'm gonna just, it is what it is. Fuck this. I'm gonna just whatever. That sucks, man. That sucks. They just give in. They don't feel like they got representation.
Yeah,
And
but they don't feel. But why don't they become the representation they want to see? They want to complain about what, and then the question that we keep, and I'm not going to let you get away. Have you asked them what have you done to make a difference outside of complaining? Because if they said, "Well, I tried to do this, I want to run, and I tried to do this, and I wasn't successful," all they did was say they suck. Okay, say I agree with you. Now what? Now what?
Mm.
Now the thing about it is, I'm a fighter. I know I don't suck. I give these members everything I got. And still, what's the excuse for not being out there? A lot of times I feel alone. What about my pain? Where are you at backing me up? This goes both ways. It's like a relationship. If your partner is not communicating with you, where you gonna go? So your partner is the union leadership and the membership. And it takes a dance of communication between the both of you. This is not a one-way street. Like I said, the message that's got to go, the union was never intended to work for you. They are intended to work with you. You have to be involved in the process.
Ooh. So you just put me on the spot. I get it. Yeah, all right.
Yeah, I
Put me
mean,
on the
you
spot.
keep saying, because you keep saying what they saying. It's just like me
I'm
coming to
just
you
asking the
saying,
questions.
that's like you saying, Jonathan, they talking about you like a dog, man. They saying this about you. And my next question, so what did you say?
Well,
So I'm hearing what they saying. So my question is, well, what did you say? Or
I
what did
said
they
no
tell you that
speaking
they
English,
did to
papi.
make a difference? What did they say? Okay, I didn't heard all through this what they saying. Okay,
Okay.
so what are they doing?
The irony behind it is I say a lot of the same thing because they all come to me, hey man, this one not here, they not doing it. And I always tell them, I said, why don't you get involved? Why don't you go to the union hall? Man, it's the same bullshit when you go over there. They say it's boring. They give me the stories, and I hear all the stories. It's boring, man. There's only old people that are there. I've heard it. I've heard it. I've heard it, man. The only old people there. They sit there for 15, 20 minutes talking about the minutes. I don't understand. Then I want to talk about something. Then they shoot it down. A lot of them don't know the process. I'm not even going to lie. I don't even know the process on how to bring things to the floor. A lot of us are not educated on how to bring something to the floor if we wanted to start the change. A lot of them don't know the steps, how difficult it would be, how hard it would be, etc. So that's why I'm not even gonna say that's why a lot of them are complaining, but if I went in there right now, as much as I know about this shit, I wouldn't know how to bring something to the floor.
Yeah,
Me.
but here's the thing. Especially in a local meeting, maybe at the national convention it's different. And Robert's rules, the Constitution, mostly everybody Constitution says that it has to be run under Robert's rules of order. So you'll come and if you were at my meeting and you'll say, I have a question. You might not say I want to make a motion. And I'll be
Hmm.
like, and I would be like, Brother Jay, um, what are you trying to say? And maybe I can help you put it in the form of a motion. This is
Okay.
part of your leadership educating you on how to participate instead of making you look stupid because you don't know the exact terminology. Some of that is happening, and I'm not denying some of that is happening. But sometimes you gotta speak plain to me. It's like you ever talk to a guy that know computers and they go, all
Yes.
you gotta do, I said, shit, you gotta talk to me like a dummy, because I don't know nothing. I don't know what you're talking about. And a lot of the seasoned leaders gotta understand their job is to nurture their membership. to be not followers, but future leaders. But to be honest with you, there are a lot of leaders that only want to create followers because they never want anybody to threaten their position of authority.
And
I
I think
always
that's
want to
what's
make
happening here.
I always want to make more leaders because your threat to my authority keeps me on my toes, keeps me sharp, keep me so as soon as I want to stop going out to this station or I want to stop raising hell, I got somebody out there. It's not easy to do that when you got somebody ready to replace you. But if I get tired and don't want to do it and there's nobody sitting on the bench, it's easy to do that, right? So the thing about it is, where is your fortitude that I'm not going to give up until this union is how I envision it to be? That's your job to force the change that you're looking to see. When I wasn't happy, I ain't telling you what I think. I'm not giving you no political speech. I'm telling you what I did. I ran and I won and I won and I didn't know what the hell I was doing. But because failure was not an option, I read, I absorbed everything. And I'm fast forward the clock, 30 years later, I'm still here. So I'm not telling you that it can't be done. You can't tell me that it can't be done. It can't tell me. Let me tell you something. Some people say, well, I don't know the contract enough. Can you read? You can learn it. Can you read? Can you study? Because I'm not super sharp. I'm not super intelligent. I just read it before you read it. And when you read it, you're going to know the same thing that I know. That's the reality. But being a good union leader is not about smarts. It's about patience. It's about compassion. It's about caring. See, people say, I'm not smart enough to do that. No, you're not committed enough. You're not
Damn.
patient enough. You're not, because these members, a lot of members will frustrate you. But you got to stay compassionate because I never see people. I always see contract. Because as soon as I start seeing people, then I talk about what's right and what's fair. Contract ain't written for that. Either it's there or it's not there. Either the language is there or it's not there. And that's the reality. I'm not going to let you get them off the hook with the way they feel when they have produced no receipts of trying to make a difference. Show me some receipts and then give me your complaints. But don't show me nothing because you know the old saying, Jay, nothing from nothing leaves what?
Equal nothing.
So if you brought nothing to the party and you went home with nothing, then what you complaining about? You got what you asked for.
Okay, so everybody that's in the chat that's asking these questions, clearly, if you have nothing to bring to the table, don't ask. No, no, man, you hitting the home runs, man. I'm usually prepared to ask questions. You answered the 10 questions that I had, which were very basic, and you went beyond. You went beyond. I would love to have you on whenever you want to come on. You are more than welcome to come on. The people, I put a look when this thing is going to upload by tomorrow. You'll be able to see the live chat replay and you'll be able to see all the comments. You just go to live chat replay. You've got a lot of positive feedback. And I think it's because people need to they like to feel like they're being heard. They like that passion. I didn't think I'd have to bring it out of you. I knew just from I just knew from what I used to see in the videos before. I was like, God damn, this dude he rough. I like this shit. And I think if you go back to my earlier videos, I was never really this blunt. But after seeing you, I was like, okay, well, New York in the house. I think I could turn it up a notch. This is who I am. That other shit is just, I'm real light with it. But the we got to get more people to turn out, man, because this little union contract, the voting was petty. The next when you guys run for president, regardless, we need to see more people getting involved. And the same message that you're relaying, it has to trickle down because there are people that wanted to be part of the union at my place and they feel like, just like you said, they may not know the steps. They may not know the way, and they may blame some of the people that are there in at the union itself. We have a decent new president at my local, and my my craft director, He just retired. He's still coming around. I appreciate that. We
because he
used to go
can.
to, yeah, I
Because
used
he
to go to
can.
war with him, but he's still there. He's still coming around.
But brother
Um,
Jay, let me say this. You ever heard of For Dummies, the book?
yes.
They got Robert's Rules of Orders for Dummies that'll break it all down for you. So if you can read, you ain't got no excuse. They got YouTube. Are we on YouTube now? To say,
Yeah.
how do I participate in the meeting? So my thing is, there is things that you could do. So you're saying they feel this way, and and real or imagine, people got a right to the way they feel. I get that.
Mhm.
But also, it would have a lot more validity if they tell me, what have you done and been rejected, than to tell me how you feel, backing it up when I have done nothing to change my circumstances, my situations, which so there is absolutely no way you could change your feelings. What was the steps that you took outside of complaining for you to be the change that you want to see?
Mm.
You even told me some people say they didn't even vote. Okay,
Yeah.
so how you gonna complain about a contract you never even voted for?
Mm.
How you
Mm.
gonna? I mean, this is the thing that I'm talking about, and especially me being a minority. Martin Luther King said, "There are no more important steps than those few short steps that you're going to take to the ballot box." That's the reality. He said, even my grandfather would vote for the dog catcher because he was denied. We take it for granted because we never been denied the right in our lifetime of that privilege. My grandfather didn't have the privilege to vote. He didn't have a chance to participate in the American dream.
Mm.
I'm, I'm, I'm I am his wildest dream of the opportunities that I have. And if I take my energy to make a difference instead of complaining, look how much more I could get done. I'm not saying that your feelings are not valid. I'm not saying they ain't got a right to be hurt. But I'm saying the difference between a leader and a follower is one decided to do something and the other one decided to watch.
Oh.
That's it. So you telling me about all the watchers, and I'm trying to tell you about all the leaders.
Damn.
Come on now. They got to step up. And I'm not going to let them off the hook like, okay, we understand. Yeah, I know we got some bad people, whether it be management, whether it be union. And the only way to correct bad people is with good people doing the right thing. Good people uniting together. I got a 10% of people that get in trouble all the time. The rest of the 90% don't never need the union. But for the changes that we're talking about, we need to stick together. You try. I dare you to take that. Let me tell you something. It's 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 a conviction on your personal value. What do I mean by that? If you took $1, we went over this, right?
Mm-hmm. Oh shit. Tell him.
If you took $1 and you balled the dollar up, right? And you threw it on the floor and you stomped on it, and now you straighten that dollar out. Did that dollar lose value?
Absolutely not.
So the thing about it is, you're letting management, you're letting the union, you're letting everybody but you and God determine your value. And your value is based on what you do, not what you say. Even in the Bible, it says God blesses the doer of his word, not the sayer. You want to talk all day. When you going to start walking? When you going to start getting involved? When you going to be that difference? One of the most important things you said in this whole conversation, I got 4 people now that's involved that took leadership positions. I'm ready to drop the mic. That's it. That's what it's about. You got 4 people that says, I'm sick and tired of being sick and tired.
Yeah.
And they wanted to be and they knew that the change they were looking for, it had to be them. And then
Yeah.
why not you? Why you want everybody else to be that change? Because you don't have the courage or the fortitude to do what you're asking to be done. So stop putting the pressure of what you too afraid to do on somebody else. Step up or shut up. It really comes down to that.
Damn. Somebody just steps into this conversation. They think you scolding me right now. I feel scolded.
So I'm just saying, I
boy,
get you. But what are they
you
doing?
drilling them. Drilling them right now. Love it. I love it. They need that. I'm sorry. I'm reading the comments over here. I'm looking that way. I apologize. Yeah.
They probably stopped being so positive after that one.
No. They need that. When is the elections? You said it is in October?
The ballots go out between September 10th and 15th, and they will be counted on October 6th. And at that time, we're going to get together again because I know we can have a frank conversation, and you ain't gonna cut this all up and misinterpret what I said and stuff like that. And me and you could talk straight. I like that. I like when I can go and we could just kick it straight. And then I plan to have sessions such as this, and maybe you can help me, where we can set something up for the membership, because I want to have a meeting with the members where it's give and take. I want them to have an opportunity to express their views. I'm not afraid of disagreeing, because that's how you grow. I want to hear your frustration. But guess what? When you come to that meeting, I want to hear also what you did and it's not working, instead of what's just not working. What have you done to make a difference? Because I'm not just going to sit up there and let you like, the union ain't this, the union ain't that, the union ain't this. Because that's almost like you talk about my mama. I love the union. It's been too good to me. You're going to have to come where I tried this, I tried that, and nothing is working too. This goes both ways. You can't get anything out of something that you don't put nothing into. I think that's like a kid that every time your parent give you money and you go to the store and then it's something you really want and you go to your piggy bank and you realize it's empty. Well, of course it's empty. You never deposited anything in it. So we giving you no layoff clause. We giving you no excess with that 50 miles. We're giving you a decent wage. We're giving you a COPA increase every year. And you keep going to the store with it, but what are you coming to give back to your organization so we can go back and get that more? So we can get the drivers the raise they're looking for, so we can get the electricians what they're looking for, and the MPEs. What are you doing besides going to the store and spending it and not depositing it? And depositing it is not money. When are you going to deposit your behind in a seat at your meeting? And when you going to deposit your time to help your union? Stop asking what your union has done for you and start telling me, what have you done to help your union?
And with that being said, damn, you're not just gonna come back on in October. You're gonna come back on a few more times before that, because I believe you reaching out to a lot of carriers as well. Again, I'm looking over here. Somebody said, will we talk to the carriers too? So, I'm sure you inspiring them as well. I'm positive, because they shit.
I'm like Martin Luther King. I have a dream. And my dream is one day for us to fully fill our potential as postal workers. At some point, we're going to have to become one union, one sound, one voice, and one direction. And when that day happens, then and only then will we be able to fulfill the fullness of our forefathers and foremothers of the legacy that we should be leading. It might not happen in my lifetime, but it's nothing that I'm opposed to, that even if I had to give up my seat of power for the better good of all postal workers, it is something that I would truly consider.
Damn. Y'all heard that. Y'all heard that. A lot of people been asking about one union as well. A lot of people. A lot of people. People can't even use Zoom to be part of our monthly union meetings. It's pathetic. This is a guy out in Pennsylvania. Yeah, there's a lot. When you get a chance, like I said, I'll send this to you tomorrow, so you can go back over this live stream and you can see all the comments. There's people that say their local uses Zoom. Others say that they don't. But that's another thing. But you and I will chat behind the scenes. Do you want to say anything in closing, or we good? I ain't got no questions.
Listen.
I ain't got no questions.
Listen, the bottom line is My philosophy is love. And my grandfather taught me when I was young, tough love is love too.
Mm.
All love ain't always hugging and cuddling you. See, my grandfather used to hurt my feelings a lot when I was young. Not because he was talking bad about me, because he said if he really wanted to hurt my feelings, all he had to do was tell me the truth. And at that time, I was going nowhere fast. And he gave me so much truth, I couldn't take it no more. I'm going to always give the members the truth. How you deal with it is up to you, because my responsibility is to tell you the truth and give you the very best I've got. I don't know how to do it any other way but 100%. And I will give you 100% of my blood, my sweat, and my tears. And at the end, I will let history be my judge. God bless you all. God bless the APWU. And if you want to pass anything on, pass the love on to your coworkers. And if y'all can start loving each other, then y'all can start changing your circumstances, changing your situation, and changing the post office into something that you envision and you believe that you could be comfortable at. But it takes all of us being in that tent to make this happen. Thank you for this opportunity, Brother JH, and we will definitely be rapping soon. God bless you all.
With all that being said, I want to thank Sean. He knows what he did for me. I appreciate you. Y'all have a good night. Oh, okay, it's off. Sean was